Okay, on Zoom I have my aunt, my mom's best friend, and my friend. And in person, I have my mother and her boyfriend.
Turn that a little bit.
Just turn it a little more. Thank you. Okay. I've always been an anxious person. For as long as I could remember, everything seemed to cause me some sort of anxiety. Loud noises, the way the car would move on the highway, big crowds of people. But over time, I've learned how to cope with it in healthy ways that have ultimately gotten me to where I am today. When I was younger, my anxiety would manifest more as a temper tantrum than anything. I hadn't quite learned yet how to express my anxiety in a productive way. Over time, things got worse. By 4th grade, school, something that had always been so easy for me, was starting to get difficult. Every Friday, we would have timed math tests, and I would cry and shake, and usually wasn't able to complete them. When I was, it was so significant that my teacher would send me around the school to show it off to the principal, my counselor, and even other teachers. By 6th grade, I had developed depression in addition to my anxiety. I developed self-destructive coping habits that, while I thought were helpful at the time, were ultimately making things worse. I was hospitalized for the first time that year. The summer between 6th and 7th grade, I moved across the country from Missouri to Maryland. My anxiety continued to get worse, and by high school, instead of maintaining straight A's like I had been able to do most of middle school, I was even failing classes. I was put into the special education program, but it wasn't enough. I was hospitalized for a second time. I returned to school the second semester, but I started out online. Ultimately, though, this was just more isolating, so I went back. But my parents started looking for alternatives. They hired a lawyer who was able to help me get into a special program at another school in the district that had more support for people like me. Things got better. I was able to maintain straight A's, and I learned how to cope in healthier ways, like journaling, talking to people about how I was feeling, and trying to turn around my anxious thoughts. The 2 years I spent at that school were some of the best in my life, but my senior year, I again moved, this time back to Missouri. My anxiety got worse, but this time, I had learned those healthy coping skills, and I was able to push through it. The day after my high school graduation, on May 19th, 2019, I moved to Charlottesville. Since moving here, my anxiety still isn't great, but I've been able to cope with it. I've been able to maintain a 4.0 GPA while working almost full-time. My mental health still isn't quite where I'd like it to be, but being in control of your mental health is something difficult to master, and I know I'm still learning. Ultimately, I'm proud of how far I've come and what it's took me to get here. And I'm done.